Eskom has implemented stage 2 load shedding, which will start at 11 o'clock this morning. A unit at Lethabo and Majuba were delayed in returning to service, while a unit at Tutuka tripped. For the latest on this, I'm joined by business reporter Kopano Gumbi. Kopano, very disappointing to hear that load shedding is here to stay, so to speak. What's happening now?
Absolutely, Mpho. As you mentioned, a breaking news announcement that load shedding has just been re-implemented, in fact stage 2, with the possibility of the stages getting even higher over the weekend. I am at one of the plants, in fact, where the unit has broken down at Lethabo Power Station, and joining me right now is the Eskom spokesperson, Sikonathi Mantshantsha. Quite unfortunate timing, but quite opportune for us as Newzroom Afrika. Can you just give us a sense of how this came to be?
Thank you. Just a correction, Kopano. The unit, one of the units here, has been delayed returning to service, which has contributed to the implementation of load shedding at this point, together with another unit at Tutuka, which has tripped. The main problem, though, is we have had to shut down at this point 3 units at the Kendall Power Station because there is a power fault in the conveyor belt feeding coal into the power station. So no coal is reaching the power station at this point, and the last remaining unit will indeed also be forced down just now, which means all 4 units will be down at Kendall, and this then might indeed necessitate that we increase the stage of load shedding going into the weekend. But we do not have as yet all the detail, and as soon as we do, we will publish a statement and keep the people informed. We would like, as Eskom, to apologize to the people of South Africa for this short notice of the implementation and indeed for load shedding itself.
Sikonathi, Kendall going down now, 1 unit only standing, and if that unit goes down, that's an entire power station that is without power. How much is lost to the grid in that instance?
I don't exactly have the accurate number now of the power station, but all the power station is not receiving coal at this point. My colleagues will shortly let me know what the details are and how long it will take to resolve that problem, which then will inform what happens next. But at this stage, we are able to say we might have to increase load shedding from stage 2. I will not speculate on to how much and how long. We will, in a few hours' time, be able to again update the public.
This really does talk to the unstable and unpredictable nature of these power stations, and the story really we're covering today is around just that. Why is it that maintenance has been left so long, and now we find ourselves in a situation where the load shedding can come at the drop of a hat, in fact?
Kopano, my colleagues here inside the boardroom now, you were lucky enough to actually be taken through by the generation maintenance manager to tell you what goes into proper maintenance of a power station. That includes, the main thing is that it takes 2 years at least to plan 1 major outage, 1 general overhaul. And we are at a stage that in the past Eskom has not always it has not always done maintenance as it should have, and we have been telling the people of South Africa for the past 2 years that we are now at a point where the plant is so unreliable that it is impossible to predict when load shedding will happen and how long it will last. We are at that point now, and you are fortunate enough to have heard directly from the managers responsible for maintenance at this very power station a few minutes ago.
Sikonathi Mantshantsha, thank you for your time. That was the spokesperson of Eskom, Sikonathi Mantshantsha, just telling us exactly what is going on, why we find ourselves at stage 2 of load shedding. And as he mentioned, we're going to continue having these discussions with the general manager of this very plant here at Lethabo to tell us more, give us more detail and more information about why so many of these units are so easily tripped and how come we have no power leading into the weekend, Mpho.
Absolutely, Kopano. And of course, we've seen this throughout the voting process where load shedding and lack of power supply was a huge factor when it came to people not being able to perhaps fully cast their vote at the voting stations.
Well, what we experienced during the election period, at least, was, remember last week we went into stage 4 of load shedding the week before elections, and then that was quickly resolved, and Eskom were able to dig into their power, the emergency reserves, which is usually diesel, which is quite an expensive endeavor and often not as reliable as these large power stations like Lethabo that we're behind here. And we know that on election day there were 1 or 2 instances of load shedding, but that was quickly resolved. In the days afterwards we experienced some stage 2 as well, and it just continues to speak to the fact that the system is breaking and continues to be under strain, and we're trying to understand why that is, and we're here with the general manager who's going to tell us more on that a little bit later. But for now, that's all we have here from Lethabo Power Station.
Very well, Kopano Gumbi bringing us the very latest with our news just in. Stage 2 load shedding underway. This is a story that we will continue to track throughout the course of the day.